During her 70-year reign, Her Majesty the Queen has seen a number of Prime Ministers come into power in the UK. And now she has appointed her 15th leader. Her first Prime Minister was Winston Churchill, who was already in power when she took the throne in 1952. Churchill initially believed the 25-year-old Queen was too inexperienced for the role, but they later became good friends. Anthony Eden's early meetings with Her Majesty were dominated by the possible marriage of the Queen's sister, Princess Margaret, to Captain Peter Townsend, a divorcee. The complicated arrangement would have involved the government, but the princess later decided not to marry Townsend. The Queen's third Prime Minister was Harold Macmillan, and she reportedly didn't get along with him at first. But the two were soon on the same wavelength, and the Queen came to rely on his counsel. Alec Douglas Home was the Queen's fourth PM, and no stranger to Her Majesty, as he was a childhood friend of the Queen's mother. Harold Wilson was the Queen's first Labour Prime Minister, and reportedly had a warm, friendly relationship with him. Another close friendship followed closely behind Wilson, with his successor James Callaghan, a devoted monarchist, saying Her Majesty was able to see the funny side of life. The first female Prime Minister reportedly had a more frosty relationship with the Queen. Margaret Thatcher and Queen Elizabeth, who were only 6 months apart in age, did clash at times, but the two respected each other. After Thatcher stepped down as PM, the Queen appointed her to one of the highest honours in the UK, the Order of the Merit. The Queen's ninth PM was John Major, who was the first leader to be younger than the monarch. He was the leader who had to give a statement to Parliament to announce that Prince Charles and Princess Diana would be separating in 1992. Despite 10 years working together, it was thought that former Labour leader Tony Blair didn't have a particularly close relationship with Her Majesty. Gordon Brown was the Queen's 11th Prime Minister, and like his predecessor, was also not on the guest list for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's wedding in 2011, despite other former leaders being invited. David Cameron was the first of 4 Conservative Prime Ministers the Queen has appointed since the party won a landslide victory in the 2010 general election. Theresa May, the Queen's second female Prime Minister, was next, following an unsuccessful EU Remain campaign from Cameron. And in 2019, it was Boris Johnson who took the reins, and ended up having one of the most rocky premierships in UK political history. Johnson had to apologise to Her Majesty on more than one occasion for various scandals during his time as Prime Minister. And her latest appointment is her third female Prime Minister, Liz Truss. Truss famously made calls to abolish the monarchy in the 90s, while she was a young Liberal Democrat at university. But the new Prime Minister has since taken back her comments, and has now been formally appointed by Her Majesty